I'm Henry Confidential, and this is Movie Cherry Monday on a Wednesday. Movie Chair Wednesday, guys. How you feeling? Unfortunately, because of the holidays, Monday kind of got pushed over to Wednesday. So, JPO, you were on last week and you got actually cut off short, or the week before last week, right? Yeah. And you were cut off.
One of those days.
Yeah. The last episode, you were cut off short, unfortunately. But luckily for you, now you have more to talk about. So, overall, how you feeling, buddy? And happy belated 4th of July.
Yes, pew pew. It was fun, and yeah, looking forward to talking some movies.
There we go. Taters, over here utilizing the concept of this show to get his movie knowledge up. How are you feeling? And are you ready to talk about some random movies?
Yeah, feeling pretty good on that July 3rd. I spent the first moments in what is supposed to be my house alone and had a female visitor over, so that was delightful for all parties. Yeah, had a great time, and yeah.
Absolutely. Madi, how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm first of all proud of you, Tato, for having a joint acceptable meeting with a female.
His wallet's a little lighter after the fact, but hey, it is what it is. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, that
it happens. I've been working hard. I deserve
it. Taylor lost like 10 pounds on July 4th because of that. So there you go. It's like the scene from what was it, Scary Movie?
Scary Movie,
where it's just like
I don't have enough self-control to build up that much, so I can't relate to that. Jay, you've had an interesting week. How you feeling today?
I'm all right. I still got words to say about my movie.
I forgot about that. Right. Show's over. Later, guys. I'll go ahead and get started. So, initially, we had another show coming up after. So, I'm not saying we're gonna take forever on this, but we're not on a time crunch. So, I actually have done a bunch of first-time watches in the last week. So I'm going to talk about a couple of them. The first ones I want to talk about is I watched the Jackass movies, the first two for the first time, in whole. I'm sure I saw them in passing, growing up, and I definitely watched the TV show growing up. But ironically, I've watched reactions to the movies, so it's I've had bits, but it's the actually watching the film and getting a vibe of the first two. I had a blast. It brought me back the nostalgia of being a stupid white kid watching this stuff growing up. And I was like, man, this is the type of stuff I was going to do. Just didn't have the means to do it. And thank God, because I probably wouldn't be alive like some of the players in the actual Jackass film. So, yeah, both of them 4-star movies. Well, I mean, movie is definitely subjective in terms of what you consider a movie. But I had a blast with them. I would watch them any given Sunday. And I didn't puke that much. JPO, you definitely did an eye roll at me. What are your thoughts on the first two Jackass movies?
I'm pretty sure I've seen them. They're the kind of movies that they blend in very much for me, and I've seen them either just randomly late at night, or it's on Netflix or HBO, and I'll throw it on in the background. Yeah, I just find it hard to give them 4 stars. They're fine. They're very much 3 stars for me. They're passable, but they're not it's just I can't personally give them 4, but I know a lot of people that do love them. So
Is it just because of the concept of they're not films, or is it just because of?
well, I mean, they're not films, and also I don't know, like it's just people doing stunts, and there's not really much of a rhyme or reason to it, and it's just it's a 20-minute show expended into a hour and a half movie here. So yeah, there's not really I can't applaud, like it's not filmed very great, like you know what I mean, like it's amateur and fun to watch, but yeah, 3 stars.
I respect that. Tato, you definitely had an expression after I said that I've watched them in full for the first time. What are your thoughts on the first 2?
Yeah, definitely a surprise to me. I would have thought you would have seen these like at the time, kind of thing. I dig these. Not only are they films, they are documentaries. So if you're into Tato trivia and you got a documentary cushion, come and study your Jackass. So, but yeah, no, I have a ton of fun with these. And again, reactions. These movies are perfect for reactions. So my question to you would be, what were some of your favorite stunts, as it were?
I really liked the fart mask because the turd just popping out was hilarious. Because I didn't see that one coming. I definitely I don't know why that got me. Anything with Bam and with Phil and April, because that just, once again, that's the most memorable of like growing up, both at his show as well as just
Right.
Jackass. Let me think. The old man stuff, Spike Jones and Johnny Knoxville, hilarious. Yeah, a lot of it. This ironically, out of everyone's I'm talking about, these are the 2 most like furthest. These were technically last week. These were on the first, so I don't remember like exactly like the memory of that, but yeah, those are some of the highlights for me.
I think my favorite moment from the first 2 is Butterbean okay?
Oh yeah,
that line is just fucking Butterbean okay?
I was dying. You see me on a Ring camera somewhere because I was watching these at work because it was a Saturday. I was trying to get out of there so I can whatever. So I had him in the background. And I was just dying laughing, and I was like, I'm trying to get done working, but I'm like, I'm stopping to watch it, and then I'm like, no, I got to go to this picnic afterwards. It was a good time. Madi, as a non-American, non-white man, have you seen the Jackass movies, and is there hope for America?
That's a loaded question. That I don't think I want to get into just because, come on, man, I'm not white. I'm a Muslim. So saying if there's hope for America for me is not a...
Gotta turn it off.
But I think I've seen like parts of these movies, like just clips. My issue with it is that like since I started like studying medicine, I can't watch these movies without going ruptured spleen, broken ribs, like, and just like diagnosing shit as
an
it
actual
happens.
car and an asshole. Yeah, like there's a
Yeah, like that sort of stuff is like, oh, I don't even see that kind of shit in the emergency room, man. Like no one's running like, oh yeah, we were just getting run over by bulls today, and I was like, oh, okay, good, just casual Tuesday for you then. I don't think I could ever, I want to say ever, but if I had Johnny Knoxville as a patient, he would pay my way through every single kid's college in the next like 10 years.
Yeah, you would just stop pulling out. You're like, might as well. He's gonna pay for it anyway.
Like, go for it, man. Just keep paying. I got another kid who's going to college. You want to help him too? Go for
it. Jay, thoughts on Jackass 1 and 2?
My first thought that came to my mind is you asked Madi if there's any hope for America, and somehow that ended up putting him on a no-fly list.
I was already on that.
Let's be real. He gets randomly selected.
Dude, I'm brown.
I've been on there since 2001. Let's be real.
Yo, that's 100% fair. Fuck, dude. Oh my god.
Never forget. Never forget.
It's made traveling so much more difficult for me personally. No, I like the CKY videos more. I like the Camp Unalive Yourself videos way more than I like the Jacket. That's what CKY stands for, bro.
I know.
But those videos were better. They were funnier.
What does CKY stand for?
Camp Unalive Yourself. I'm not trying to get him like.
Wait for it.
Alive.
Wait, what?
Don't worry, we'll put it in the chat.
I don't know if you can even
Camp Skill Yourself.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yes.
You can't say kill yourself. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Well, you
Okay.
it fucks with the algorithm.
Ah, okay.
Like, and doing a live thing is already fucking with the algorithm.
so.
But yeah,
Pianos, we're good. But yeah, continue.
The algorithm.
They're not great movies, but like it was never a great concept. It was just a whole bunch of people doing the dumbest shit they could possibly think of. Like, I'm sorry, dog. I don't give a fuck who you are. You could be my best friend, and no amount of drugs on the face of the earth is gonna get me to put a gas mask on and you fart into the other end of that. It's not happening,
Well,
dog.
that's
I
why
don't
Steve-O's
love
just
beef stew enough for that to happen. Just no.
Oh
Plus
no,
Plus,
no,
he tarted in it, dog. Like,
no. The one that really got me was the butt chug, because then after he's like, I feel like there's still some in there. They're plunging it, and all I can think of is like, oh my god, his ass is going to come out, and then they plunge it,
That's
and then
the
next
thing.
thing you know, a whole glass bottle, like a whole cup's worth of beer comes out of his ass. Like, it was in there, dude. Like, I thought a couple dribbles were gonna come out. No,
I
it's like,
fucking no. Stop. Stop. It just that reminds me of
Fill your
Blockers,
cup,
to
boy.
tell you the truth.
Red Solo cup.
These movies are trash, dog.
Toby Keith?
I
Toby
hate them
Keith?
so much. Toby Keith.
Toby Keith. Damn.
Points.
Kobe Keith.
JPO, what is the first movie that did you, other than what you've been assigned, that you kind of just watched in the last week?
Yeah. So the two that I have that I personally just randomly watched, War of the Roses, which teams Danny DeVito directing, Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner going through a really nasty divorce. Like, these two kind of start to hate each other. He doesn't hate her at first, but she just kind of hates him. She's done with him. Doesn't want to give up the house, and it's about them kind of like battling over who's going to finally break. And yeah, it's a lot of bickering, but like, it is interesting the lengths they go, and the ending is kind of interesting as well. And then the other one I saw was California, which I think I asked about ASAP recently, about Brad Pitt. He's a hitchhiker.
God damn it.
Brad Pitt and Michelle Forbes. I'm sorry, David Duchovny and Michelle Forbes are going on a road trip, so they pick up Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis. And yeah, Brad Pitt's kind of unhinged. He has a really interesting performance here. He's kind of like a country guy who just doesn't care and is willing to kill if he has to. And yeah, kind of becomes a hostage there a little later on in the movie here. And also a pretty interesting watch.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's my second favorite actor of all time. So like, whenever there's a movie that of his that
I was just say, yeah, and if you particularly like him, then this is one to kind of shout out.
yeah,
And it's on the Tubi.
I'll have to consider. I'm not a big fan of the ads, but
I'm not either, but Tubi.
I might just pay to rent it. I'll pay $5.
Tubi is the least of the worst, like, ad wise.
So what you're saying is, to be fair, it's the least bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying they don't abuse it. There's some that it's like every 4 minutes you're like indulging in like 6 commercials. This is not that. This will give you a nice chunk, and then like 1 or 2 commercials. You know.
But is it true if you don't use it, you lose it? Yeah, and then War of the Roses. That's another one I hadn't seen, but I do know that for trivia, Danny DeVito directed. So I was right.
Yeah, and I love me some DeVito too. He's kind of he's kind of the narrator.
Hey, what made you watch that one? Because
I like Dan DeVito and I like Michael Douglas. It literally was about it. Just one of those whatever streamer it was on. I was like, all right, it's something I haven't seen. I like those too.
That's fair. Tato, you've seen California. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I dig it quite a bit. I haven't seen it in a while, but it is an excellent Brad Pitt performance. It's kind of one of the early examples of him not being just the pretty boy kind of thing, and like really acting really well. Not that he's bad at acting in any of those other movies, but yeah, so it's a really good one of those. I like Juliette Lewis a lot. I'm never upset with her in a movie. So yeah, it's a really good one of those type of flicks.
Madi, have you seen either of these?
No, I haven't seen either of them, but I am intrigued now. So California definitely sounds like something I want to watch. War of the Roses I'll probably get around to, if I'm being honest. But
Eventually.
Yeah. That's another reason why I have this part of the show, just so more recommendations. Whether it's just rewatching some of your favorite movies or just happen to watch random shit like JP. I was like, hey, just on the old Tubi, to be fact.
It was supposed to be for a tournament fights that I ended up being on, and I had it on the wrong episode anyway.
I haven't seen either one of these movies.
All right. Tato, other than your assigned movies, did you watch anything else in the last week?
I actually have not. So
All right, look at you. Madi, other than your assigned movies, have you watched anything else?
Nothing new except for Indiana Jones, I guess.
No,
but
if you want to talk
everything
about a
else-
rewatch, yeah, rewatches are allowed, by the way.
I rewatched the Mission Impossible stuff.
All of them?
3 to 6.
Rogue. I was like Rogue Nation and 3.
No, I watched 3, 4, 5, and 6. So my girlfriend hadn't seen them. And
Well,
well, she
double
saw.
up your opinions. What are your thoughts on the rewatch, and then kind of what was her thoughts?
So she really enjoyed watching them because she was like, it's just gonna be a spy movie like Bourne or whatever. But like the tension that they build in these movies, she really liked, and she got like nervous throughout, even though she knew Tom Cruise is gonna win and all that, and like there's not gonna be a world-ending nuke sent into
What's
Seattle,
more likely,
or-
Tom Cruise wins or Tom Cruise runs?
Actually, it became like a running trope for us. Like after a while, she's like,
I see what you did there.
There you go. See?
It became a running trope.
Yeah, like she's like, when does the run start? And then like in the third movie, he's like doing that whole run through Shanghai. She's like,
Yeah, like
there
he's the T-1000.
he's just doing the. It looks like the like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the cop.
Yup.
Like his run. It looks just like that. He's just like booking it, and she's like, oh, there it is. And then like as we continue on, she's like, these are getting more and more intense. And then it's like, oh, by the way, he does all of his own stunts. And she's like, wait, what do you mean he does all of his own stunts? Like as he's hanging out the side of a
What
plane,
do
she's
you
like,
mean?
yeah.
she's like, what do you mean he's doing that for real? It's like he's hanging on the outside of a plane, and they're filming him. He's like, is this fucking guy insane? I was like, well,
Yeah.
yes, but like,
insert jumping on couch clip.
yeah, exactly. But like,
Yeah,
they're
love, yeah.
they're really good action movies. They're like, and it's not just the action. It's like they make a story worth telling throughout these films. Like 1 and 2, like whatever. Like you don't really need to watch them for the sake of the continuity that they're building. But
But
the
one is
last,
like mad underrated.
one's underrated, yeah. But like for the sake of time, she's like, do we have to watch these ones? I was like, not really. Like they don't really.
What
matter
time
in terms of
span
the
did you
long
watch these for?
Sorry.
What time span did you watch these 4 movies?
Oh, I want to say over the last week, I think we
Oh.
watched 3. We don't have a lot of time, right? So it's like, 3 was on like last Thursday, Friday, maybe something like that.
So
And then
watching them consecutively like that, did it feel like it was repetitive, or did it feel like there was enough difference in the series as a whole?
I think there was enough different. I think when I was like younger, I thought I got some of them confused. I was like, oh, does he jump off of like the Burj Khalifa in this one, or is that the next one? But now, like looking back at it, it's like, no, it's pretty clear which one he's doing what in. I mean, there are parts that definitely feel repetitive, but I like that they're able to keep certain things fresh with each movie. You know what I mean? Like going into the 5th one, she's like, oh, this is where he gets the mission, and then it's like IMF would be, and there's that whole twist of like, oh, it's the syndicate actually like has him trapped. It's like, wait, what the fuck? And then that whole sequence happens, and she loses her mind.
Banger.
And having seen it before, I was like, yeah, this is what's coming up. But like for her being a fresh watcher, it was interesting to see that she's like, all right, so this is where they're going. Like they're actually making a compelling story, and they're putting a through line in. Whereas in the first 2, you could kind of watch the first 2 and have them not connect. It's just, oh, there's the same guy. There's Ving Rhames. Simon Pegg kind of shows up,
Luther,
and then
let's
that's
go.
it. Yeah, like because really there isn't really a through line in the first 2, and then it's from the 3rd one that it kind of starts, right? So
Yeah. As soon as
but
you
no, yeah, they're really good. They're
Jim
all
Monahan's
like,
character, and then obviously the crew, then they continue.
Right.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
their own team. That I feel like 3 is when it really starts to like. I mean, it's also around the time when the Casino Royale reboot happened too. So it's like it's
Right,
just the
yeah,
new
yeah.
age, and it's like post the start of Jason Bourne. So like those spy franchises are like, all right, let's just up the game and be badass and cool. And now they're competing with each other as well as just making their own individual films. So I think that also
Right.
helps for all of these. So yeah, for me, I don't want to say 4 is overrated, but I do in terms of like I don't think it's bad by any means. Like I really like it. It's a 4-star movie. It's a lot of fun. But like a lot of people, overhype it up, and I don't know. It just never hits like that for me. 5 I feel like is borderline underrated at this point because a lot of people overshadow it with 4 and 6. I feel like a lot of people just kind of just skate past 5, and then 6 is one of those where it's like I for some reason I just hadn't rewatched it enough, but like when I close my eyes and think of Mission Impossible, like I essentially can like replay that entire movie, and I've only seen it like 2.5 times.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Like honestly, all of these are at least a 4-star movie. Like from 3 to 6 are all 4-star movies at least.
Yeah,
Like some of them go into the 4.5 range, but like they're all really well made movies.
it's one of the few franchises where it continues and it's just either getting better or just consistent, and like you don't get that especially for action.
And there's no point where I'm like, oh, when are they gonna stop? Like it's like, all right, yeah, show me the next one.
Yeah, they're like Dead Reckoning Part 1, and you're like, yeah, that's cool, let's go. I'm hearing mixed reviews, but it's one of those where it's like early reviews, like I don't really care about that stuff anyway. People are trying to do clickbait and all that stuff, and that means nothing to me, so I don't care. Like The Flash was the greatest movie of all time when it first came out, and then when I saw it, it was really good, but also like you can't trust what people are saying beforehand, so that doesn't bother me. But I'm excited for it, so I'm glad you rewatched them, and I'm glad that your girl enjoyed them. JPO, thoughts on the Mission Impossible movies as a franchise, and then specifically 3 through 6?
Yeah, no, kind of to a degree what you guys are saying. I like the first one. Second one is kind of the only one where I maybe don't recommend it, but I don't hate it. 3, it starts to get to the next level, and then 4 is where I think they really kick it up a notch. They figure out the crew. They figure out I think the way they're going with the franchise, and I think 4, 5, and 6 are pretty damn good. I am definitely the guy that will overhype 4. I think 4 is my favorite. Although I agree with you that I think I would actually put 5 over 6 at the moment. But that could be changed with the rewatch. I'm actually interested in maybe trying to do this myself, trying to rewatch it because it has been a minute. But it's been an interesting franchise overall. They've taken their time with it a little bit here. You know what I mean? And they haven't really rushed it, kind of like the Fast franchise, which also got to the next level. But they kept like chugging out sequels, and now we're kind of through with it. We're not through with this franchise yet, so hopefully Dead Reckoning's pretty good.
Tato, have you seen the Mission Impossible movies?
No, this is one of those patented Tato big, huge gaps that just
So you haven't seen any of them, to be clear?
Nope, none of them.
Interesting. Well, for a first time watch, I don't feel like 1 is your vibe. I think you'll like it, but I don't think it's like your jam. So be patient with 1, 2, 3. I feel like it's gonna start going up, and then 4, 5, and 6 just consistent, like everyone says. Like it's but it's one of those where it's like you have to watch the first 3 because of Ethan Hunt specifically. Like you have to like get to know his character and all that stuff. But like, I mean, I guess technically you don't because Mediz Girl did it. But like, it's recommended just because it just adds to his character and Tom Cruise. But yes,
if you're on a time crunch, skip 2.
Yeah.
I'm never on a time crunch. Yeah, I'm really bad at starting things, but once I start shit, I will probably fucking eat it up. So, once people start giving me
girl.
hey.
Jay, Mission Impossible thoughts?
As a latecomer to this entire franchise, the only one I had actually seen before was 2, until like last year.
That sounds like the most Jay thing I've heard.
And I don't hate 2. I don't know what is like. It's not as good, but it's still a good portion of the franchise. People are
it's the weaker link.
Well, definitely, but like that, I think that's a thing about sequels, especially like sequels that take a while to come out. Like you're never really gonna get like the first one came out in the mid '90s. That one came out right after 2000, some shit like that. Like it took like 6 years for the second one to come out or some shit. Like it happens.
And John Woo, and it wasn't enough John Woo, but it was more John Woo than the first one. It was definitely thing.
But like none of them are inherently bad. Like everything does ramp up the more you go into it because the stunts have to keep getting bigger and bigger for you to keep coming back. Because I'm sorry, Ethan Hunt's really not that he's not that guy, bro. Ethan Hunt is not that guy unless he's doing the stunts. Tom Cruise doing the stunts is one thing. Tom Cruise is that guy, bro. But Ethan Hunt's just like a boring character if he's not trying to save the world. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But yeah, this just like it's not my franchise, but I don't hate the movies overall.
So like you're saying, if you were forced to rewatch them, you wouldn't see CYK.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
There you go. All right. Jumping over to Jay. What is something other than your assigned movie that you watched or rewatched?
I don't know if we talked about it last week, but The Machine was one that we saw, and Stan Lee the fucking documentary on Stan the Man that just
Oh,
released on Disney.
Okay. Thoughts on both?
The Machine was funny. Like, me and Tato watched it. I laughed my ass off during that movie. It's definitely a movie that you like smoke a bowl to, and just sit down and get high and laugh. But like, there's nothing of like real substance in the film. Should have done better at the box office. But
Did I hadn't seen it? Did it emulate kind of massive, unbearable weight of massive talent, kind of that spy storyline interwoven?
Not really. Like, I think I get where you're coming from. And no. And mainly because like this is something of his own doing and not being like he's being kidnapped in the movie essentially to go back and find an item. And like the shenanigans that he gets up to in Russia is one thing, and it's like a movie essentially about not being able to live up to the legend that you've created for yourself, which I think is like a decent message for any movie. I didn't hate it. This is definitely like a 3.5 star movie. It's right around there. I love me some Mark Hamill though.
How was Bert? Yeah, I was like between the two. How's his acting?
It's not bad, but you can definitely tell like it's a stand-up comedian trying to be an actor.
Yeah, as a leading man.
yeah. A lot of what he does is I don't do a whole lot of movement. Like a lot of his dialogue is delivered like he's doing a stand-up set, so he's not moving around a lot. There's some funny moments in the movie with him where he does some physical comedy and shit. But I think, that's expected of people nowadays, especially in a movie kind of like this. But like, it's not like I said, it's not bad. It's it's definitely a 3-star movie.
Absolutely. And then Stan Lee, what are your thoughts on just that? Because I don't even think I've heard of that.
That motherfucker broke my heart, dude. But I think anything with Stan in it at this point in time, just hearing that man's voice is just gonna fucking absolutely wreck me. Seeing him do what he did, be the person that he was, and just like not just at like conventions and shit. They actually have like board meetings, and it's like real small shit, but it's like him talking about certain fucking nuances of characters that he's helped create or the direction that he wants characters to go in. And like it seems really boring when you put it in that context, but when you hear a man who is passionate about it talk about it, you can get enraptured by it. You can get fucking just sucked right into it. And it's only like an hour and a half long. It's a documentary. Most documentaries are either that or they're fucking 19.5 hours long.
Miniseries and shit.
Yeah, for real. But you give me anything with Stan Lee in it, I'll fucking watch it. Bro, you could literally have made a movie with Stan Lee just sitting in a room watching paint dry, and I'd probably fucking watch it.
My dinner with Stan Lee. There you go.
Yo, for real. But no, like it was great, dude. Like it's a lot of people who work in the industry nowadays also sharing their love of like why they got into the industry, why they became artists, why they became editors. Like Joe Quesada is in it. You've got Brian Michael Bendis who makes an appearance in that motherfucker. Just like a lot of big nerdy names that like most people don't know, but if you're like a comic book nerd, you would know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Tato, you watched The Machine with Jay. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess I thought I talked about it last week, but maybe I think JPO and I just talked about it on something else, so that's probably what I was thinking about.
Okay.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. It's a 3-star movie going up to 3.5, maybe even 4, depending on how deep into Burt lore you are, because there's a lot of good references to him and Tom Segura and their friendship and other such comic stuff like that. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It should have done, I think, a little better at the box office than it did. But
yeah, as popular as that story is, you would think that people would go just out of the intrigue and the wonder.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't it was a bit of a bummer that both Bird and Sebastian's movie opened on the same weekend. And neither did great.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a coincidence or if that was just poor choice.
Yeah, I think it's just. I gotta chalk up to just studios having only that window. I gotta assume is what it is.
Yeah, it was around the time of a lot of big box office like Flash and then Guardians and all of these
Fireworks, all that good shit
that came out within the last month or two.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer there, but yeah, it was a lot of good laughs in there. Could have been a little better, but couldn't have realistically been expected to be much better than it was.
That's fair. And then as a Marvel fan, if you hadn't seen the Stan Lee doc with based on what Jay said, are you interested in checking that out at some point?
Yeah, it's just something that I kind of haven't got to yet. I definitely, like, when I first heard about it, I was gonna do it day one, but then things slip away from me, and like I haven't even done today's episode of Secret Invasion yet, so I got to get to that too.
I think I'm actually, ironically, I'm gonna wait until it's all done and just watch them consecutively because I just feel like it's that type of show. I want to do that, but.
That's a fair knock. I've done that before, so
it's only 6 episodes long. So.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I just bang out the 6 and just enjoy that. Because I feel like now that I'm watching, once again, take a shot. I'm talking about Walking Dead, but now that I'm watching the Walking Dead, Dead City. It's one of those where it's like, as I'm 3 episodes in, I'm like, I kind of wish I just would have waited until it was done and then just watched them all consecutively. So that's why I'm doing that with Secret Invasion. JPO, what are your thoughts on the machine?
Well, first for the Walking Dead, I actually like taking a break. Because I feel like when you binge too much, shit really starts to blend in. So I actually like the break in Walking Dead.
I watched 177 episodes in a month.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm surprised you're like, give me more at once. Like, no, that's the kind of show.
And I've already watched 2 reactions to.
I purposely like taking a break.
Yeah, I'm a psycho.
Yeah, no.
But the machine. What are your thoughts?
I saw this on the same day. I triple shotted the new Transformers and the Boogeyman and. What are we looking at? Oh, did you buy it?
No.
Buy it so I can rewatch it. That's my new hope. Every time a new movie comes out, I'm like, oh, I hope Henry buys it.
I know, you messaged me about the Sebastian one, and I was like, can't do it.
Yeah, I want to see it, but I don't want to pay for it myself.
I'm so glad you bought Dog Soldiers, though.
I did it for you, my guy.
What's that?
Exactly.
It's a werewolf
Everyone's
movie,
next week movie, apparently.
Oh, I've heard. Oh, actually, yeah, I might just legit watch that. But yeah, I saw this the same day as Transformers and the Boogeyman, and this was my 3-star day at the movies. All 3 of them got 3 even stars, no more, no less.
You get one each.
Wait, what?
When in doubt, 3 it out.
What day of the week did you watch these?
Tuesday, actually.
I was hoping it was.
That's
Wednesday.
why.
I hope it was Wednesday because then it was just midday.
Because they were all, like I said, 3 is a thumbs up. It's all like, yeah, it's good enough. You know what I mean? I do enjoy Mark Hamill. I think Burt was perfectly fine. I think it's just a matter of the script and, the humor was there and, like, semi-consistent, but never, like, uproarious, very kind of chuckle-worthy type movie here. I do hope for the sake of, like, more comedians getting movies that it finds life in VOD because, the box office wasn't great, but, yeah, I had fun with it.
And then Stan Lee, I know you're like 50-50 in terms of like Marvel stuff. I know you like them, but like you're not a diehard like nerd geek. But like
just some of the TV stuff I'm behind on. but I've not seen that, no. But that's definitely something I would be interested in.
There you go.
I haven't started Secret Invasion either. I got to start that.
And then Madi, thoughts on either of these? Whether you've seen them, not interested, not, etc.
I mean, I want to see both of them. The Machine, I feel like this would have been like a really good Netflix or like a streaming movie.
This should have been on Hulu before White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah,
facts.
You know what I mean? Like it's like theaters are weird now, man. Like you can't tell what the box office is going to be. I think there's only been like 2 movies that have been successful this year.
I'm still not even going to the theater. I've only seen like 14 movies in theaters this year. It's mainly because my theater's been pissing me off. But
theaters are dying, bro.
They kind of are.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, every other movie this year has not made money. Like, every other week, it's like, oh, this is the biggest bomb, and then it's the next week, it's like, oh, this is the biggest bomb of the fucking year.
Yeah,
I don't know, like, I feel like Machine could have been put on Netflix or Hulu or one of those kind of platforms, and it would have done perfectly good, fine.
Yeah.
Because that's where you go to see, like, comedians that you like, right? Like, you go see the new Eddie Murphy movie, like, what was it, You People that came out last year? People liked it on Netflix instead of watching it. And like you don't go to see it in a theater. It's like $20 for a ticket.
Good buddies in Paris.
There you go. Yeah. But no, I do want to see it. And then Stan Lee documentary, I've been meaning to get around to. I just haven't had the time.
I've never even heard of that. That's crazy.
What is that on, by the way, Stan Lee?
Disney Plus.
That's Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like all of his work is owned by Disney at this point, I think, except for like a few characters. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Some of it's owned by Fox.
Oh, it's just that Disney owns this channel now. Oh shit!
There you go.
Oh, we got a show for Disney now, guys.
I, for one, welcome our new mouse overlord.
Yeah, I'll say if they give me a check, it is what it is. All right, I'm going to do 3 here for my next one, just because they're all comedies. So I feel like they all, well, actually technically 4, because they all just go together, all as
What a
comedies.
chuckle right, Henry saw.
Yeah. So Ready to Rumble,
Yeah.
Zoolander,
Yeah.
Old School,
Yeah.
and Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
All right, so these are just 4 movies I kind of went on a binge. I mean, I watched Ready to Rumble, Zoolander the same day. I watched Old School over the weekend, and then I watched Legally Blonde Monday when I was having a bum day. So Ready to Rumble of the 4 is my favorite, actually.
What's Legally Blonde?
Damn it.
You did a JPO.
I did.
You pulled a
Hey,
JPO.
we're human, Jay. You try writing all these captions. It's not.
What are you talking about?
People that never have to do it shouldn't be able to complain about it.
Exactly. Yeah, Ready to Rumble. I've only heard nothing but terrible things about it. I heard it's like one of the worst things of all time. Blah 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 blah. Because back 2019, I think this was on
And of
Full
course
Metal,
it's your favorite.
the Full Metal deep cuts on that thing, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I want to CYK because I have to watch Ready to Rumble. You guys are all terrible people."
What's CYK?
Exactly. And I just feel like it was just going to be,
Magenta, yellow, and black.
I've had people get mad at me when I do it in trivia that you have to study for. I've had people legitimately get mad at me.
yeah, and it's
I
like
don't
after,
get it. The movie is funny.
after watching it, I'm like, yeah, are there like 2 or 3 bits that were like, okay, that's definitely the 2000s, but like in an almost 2-hour movie, there's only really two or 3 that are like 100% don't hold up, and then the rest is just subjective. And then it's just, and you consider that the worst of all time. That's just weird to me. And there's so many movies that I'm learning. And this is, I sound like a broken record when it comes up, but like when I'm on Letterboxd right now, I go on it, I click Ready to Rumble, and then I look at all the reviews. I see nothing but like 0.5 star, 1 stars, but like only 2 or 3 written reviews. So people who actually have something to say. And a lot of people, I feel like they watched it or had in the background or just fake logged it because they're like, I have to be with everyone else. And like movie 43 was another one where it's like, I thought it was going to be the worst movie of all time. And I watched, I'm like, yeah, there are a couple of the skits that don't really work, but some of it was actually a lot of fun and it wasn't as bad as I expected. And it's like, for a lot of people that claim it to be like one of the worst things of all time, it's like, oh my God, I hate life and I hate movie trivia because it's making me watch these. I'm like, first of all, nothing's making you, nerd. The odds of you getting that on a wheel slice or whatever, it's very slim to none. So take your chances. Don't watch it if you're going to bitch about it. And second of all, it was a good movie, so I had a lot of fun with it. On the other hand, though, breaking hearts here. Zoolander, I hated it. On paper,
Wow.
I expected to not like it. I did expect not to like it. So I went in with an open mind. I'm like, all right, let me be fair. And dude, it did nothing for me. Like I didn't laugh a single time. I didn't laugh a single time.
What? That's super surprising, actually.
I didn't laugh a single time. And then Derek Zoolander just has a character in Hans and all that. Like I didn't enjoy any of them. Magatu, I didn't enjoy any of that. Like nothing, none of that did anything for me.
No, I'm
That
the one
how
who-
so
I'm-
he's so hot right now.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm the one taking crazy pills.
Yeah, it did nothing for me. And then Old School,
We're gonna yell at you later, Jay.
yeah. And then Old School started off really hot. And I was like, oh shit, I've missed this. And then it kind of fell off towards the end and just became, kind of like over dramatic for like the sake of it. But I really like Luke Wilson as a lead. This and Bottle Rocket, I think, are probably my 2 favorites of like things that he's leading. So I had a lot of fun with it. And then I honestly didn't realize the Frank the Tank thing was so early. I thought it was going to be more later in the movie, like towards the climax. It was like early, and I'm like, this guy kind of sucks. It just, from his wife's perspective. But I'm also like, guy's kind of awesome. So it's one of those where it's like, I never want to be him, but I will be his friend. But yeah, I had a good time with this. And then Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde was honestly something I was thinking like Zoolander was going to be, where it was just going to be dumb and stupid and like just accents. Like initially when I saw Bill and Ted and Wayne's World, where I just thought it was just a bunch of goofy accents and all that stuff. Like a lot of people who hate like You Don't Mess with Zohan and Little Nicky and stuff from Adam Sandler. And then it really wasn't. Like there was a couple bits where I'm like, it's a little cheesy. Like in the third act, you see my reaction. Plug there, Henry Confidential. See my reaction. There's a scene when the 2 friends come in the third act in the jury or like in the audience of the trial, and then they're like, "Oh my god!" and they like do all that stuff. I'm like, "Oh Jesus Christ, that was cringe." But like going into it, I thought a lot of the movie was going to be that, and it really wasn't. Do I wish Elle wasn't so gung ho over not Ben Affleck? Yeah, sure. Shout out Jay in the comments. Not Ben Affleck. Why you Ben Affleck? But yeah. But overall, I had a fun time with it. I don't know if rewatch it like tomorrow, which I feel like is a nice criteria for especially comedies. But I did laugh a decent amount, and like it's one of those where like it made me laugh out loud, and I think that's important. Like Zoolander did nothing for me, but didn't even make me smile, and Old School made me chuckle. Where Legally Blonde, it was only like 3 or 4 times, but it made me laugh out loud. So so if I had to rank these, Ready to Rumble, Legally Blonde, Old School, 50 Piles of Shit, Zoolander. Just gonna start with JPO. Just what are your thoughts on these 4, and hate me for Zoolander all you want.
I won't say hate you. I'll get to that. I'll do it in order. Ready to Rumble as the biggest wrestling fan here.
The only
I do have no. Jay and Tato are fighting in a wrestling match later, so like they're huge fans. I saw your questions, by the way. Good luck.
Good luck.
No, not in a bad way. That did sound snarky. I meant that legitimately. Good luck. Ready to Rumble. I do have my problems with it, and obviously the show Wrestling Fans is dumb, and there's some lower common denominator jokes. But I also do really think there's an inherent charm to it as well here. Like I do really like Arquette and Khan, just as these diehard fans here. The journey they go on to is like every wrestling fan's dream that somehow they're fans that end up on TV and totally allowed in the match, even though they have no training. And like there's a charm to it. Like I love the stuff with Sting, wanting to get punched by him. Like I'll totally get punched by Sting for fun. I think there's a charm to it. I do enjoy it. Zoolander, I've actually warmed up to. So in a weird way, I almost want you to rewatch it like I did, because the first time I was like, and then I think it actually holds up upon rewatch, and I do have a lot of fun with it now. So I won't hate you for it, but this one Can't Hardly Wait does hurt. Old School is probably my least favorite of these 4. I also think it holds up the least. I think the best laughs are definitely that first watch, and then after that, what you see the shtick, it's just kind of okay for me. And Legally Blonde, again, charming comes to mind here. The kind of movie, I think you actually kind of said this in your reaction, like not a lot of people really have anything bad to say about it. Like it kind of works, for dudes, definitely for women. Like it's just kind of a fun, a charming movie. The character kind of grows. And then I thought the courtroom scene was really well done. You know what I mean? The way she kind of finds a way to protect Ellie Larder, but still win the case. It's kind of like
I don't know if it was her and it was Orange is the New Black jumpsuit, but that was the hottest I've ever seen Ellie Larder. I didn't want to say my reaction and get in trouble.
Go watch Varsity Blues, but yeah, sure.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
No,
Departed.
Heroes,
Whipped cream.
bro.
Guys,
Whipped cream bikini is correct.
Yeah. Like none of you have seen Varsity Blues. If you're arguing me on this,
Yeah. Have you seen how many Varsity Blues questions I used to write when I first started fucking writing?
I've never even seen the movie, but that's the right answer.
JPO lore.
No.
JPO and Ant-Man lawyer, fuck.
No, shush. I don't know if this girl watches.
47 minutes in,
Yeah.
scene 7. I'm kidding. I know.
But yeah, I appreciate that. Tato, have you seen all 4 of these, and what is your general thoughts on the ones you've seen?
Old School is the miss here, but they only ever ask Frank the Tank and You're My Boy Blue, so I see the movie when I know all the trivia.
I hate that.
When did he die? if it's what was he about to do? According to Maria, be a freshman.
Restless.
That was she had to be on the 4th of July. I'll admit. But yeah, the
Water.
Relax.
Water. Give me a tato.
Every movie is about water at some point.
No.
Yeah, you're 70% water.
There's a movie where Matt Damon and Casey Affleck
Where's
get
water?
lost, and they're
Quiet on this
desert
guy.
for the entire movie.
Ready to Rumble, I would actually liken to the Machine in ways where if you're a wrestling cat, you get extra out of it. But it's a baseline funny comedy with chuckles to it in general.
Like, even I'm not going to say it's more than 3.5.
Yeah. So yeah, it's what you give it, and then you get more out of it if you're the wrestling cat or the Burt cat. So, kind of like that. Zoolander is my favorite of these by a long shot. I fucking love this movie. I saw it when I was a kid, like right when it came out. So 9, 10-ish.
When you were the size of an ant.
Yes. Yeah. And it just fucking got me, and it stuck with me. I used to fucking do walk-offs in school and shit, and fucking, like, just stupid little kid shit like that. Fucking, yeah.
I think if I wasn't already, like, boo-boo face for the entire thing, when he had his kid at the end, and he was like, he's pregnant his face, and then the kid was like, I'm like, maybe that would have got me, but at that point, I was already checked out, so I'm like, nah.
That's fair. That's fair. Old school, like I said, is a miss. Legally Blonde, I haven't seen in a hot minute. I did see Legally Blonde 2 accidentally a few months ago, though. I was playing a video game and I was just like, fucking, you're one of those moments where you're so in it you can't fucking put the controller down, and my YouTube just auto scrolled to fucking Legally Blonde 2 for whatever reason, and the whole movie played out. I was just balls deep in whatever video game I was playing at the time.
Get ready for Legally Blonde 2 questions coming up in the next ASAT, written by Tato.
Heyo.
Madi, what about you, bud? Any, all of them, none of them?
I haven't seen Ready to Rumble because I think I saw a review and I was like, yeah, okay, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that good. I don't want to watch this. Zoolander is great. You're fucking insane.
Fucking high.
Like, straight up, it's so good. Like, the scene where they're trying to turn the computer on is actually bonkers hilarious. Like, it's so good. Like, honestly, I don't understand how you... Like, this is the movie of all of them. I'm like, oh, this is the one Henry's going to love. Like, of all of them, I was like, yeah, Zoolander's going to be the one that
I would see him not liking it, but, like, in the 2.5, or 2 or 3 star way.
Yeah, like, I'd put... Like, all right, maybe I'll give it, like, 3 stars sort of thing. Like, I'd never in a million years would I have imagined Henry was like, no, I fucking hated this movie.
Yeah,
like,
1 star, man.
Jesus.
Wow.
Jesus.
It did nothing
It's
for me.
great.
Like,
I think you watched Zoolander too.
No, dude, like, so,
You
like...
might have watched Zoolander too. Was Benedict Cumberbatch in there, weirdly?
With no eyebrows.
Fucking, he's so funny in that. But like, Zoolander
He might
2
be
is
the
not
only good
good,
part of that
but
movie, to be fair.
Benedict Cumberbatch is
Anchorman 2 and Zoolander 1. Not good.
Jesus. All right.
Don Atari works for me for some reason.
I don't even remember.
Old School, I think I saw like 15 years ago, and I haven't watched it again since. I don't know. It didn't really do much for me the first
That's
time.
not what med school is like. Like, it's not a good, accurate representation of med school.
I'm not gonna say that, but
So you do know a Megan Wang. You know her, and she's black.
I'm not gonna comment on anything that might still get me in trouble with people I still see every now and then. And then Legally Blonde is just fun, man. Like, I get like there's parts of it that don't really hold up now, like, what is it, 20 years on? But that's fine. Like, it has its moments, but like a lot of the movie's still really fun. And I swear to God, the amount of times I get quoted, "What? Like it's hard?" Just because it's like something ridiculously, insanely difficult, and then it's like, "What? Like it's hard?" Like, yeah, okay, calm the fuck down, buddy.
See, I'm laughing at that.
Your fucking brakes.
Yeah.
Jay, what about you, bud?
I love Ready to Rumble. I think I've always had a soft spot for that movie. It just cracks me up. Macho Man in the opening scenes. Fucking
Yeah, it was Jay who showed it to me.
yeah, I'm the one who made Tato watch it.
Smell this.
It smell like shit. Oh my
Oh.
God, it's rancid. Oh.
So sorry.
Why'd you drink so much of it? It's kind of tough, if I'm going to be honest.
You know what? I love Zoolander too. I think I watched it at the right age though. Like, you know, I watched it when it first came out. So like, I think that we all have movies that we connect back to, like our childhood or like simpler times and shit. That when we watch them, you're like, oh yeah, no, I remember laughing my ass off at this movie. And like Zoolander's still one of them ones where I'll throw it on and I might not laugh as hard as I did. I think I got the black lung pop. Fucking like, shit's funny to me, bro. Like, I think Old School's the weakest one here for me personally. I think that's just the way it is for like a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. Maybe I'm due for a rewatch on it. Because we were just talking about it the other night doing trivia. And this scene is funny. Like, it's fucked up, but this scene is funny. And then Legally Blonde, we were talking about it just a little bit ago, dude. It's got one of my favorite sneak disses of all time in it. And it's when, if he's white, he's Ben Affleck's breaking up with her at the beginning of the movie. And he's like, I need a Jackie, not a Marilyn. And I'm like, he's literally just saying, I need a wife, not a hoe. And I'm done with you. And then out of spite, she just gets into fucking Harvard law. Like,
What, like it's hard?
well, like it's hard.
See, that's what makes it funnier, because you actually are in his shoes where you're like, fucking what? And I saw you do it. Like, She gets a 175 or a 179, whatever she got. Like,
79.
yeah, she crushed it, dude.
Fuck yeah. But no, that movie's great, bro. Like, I completely forgot Linda Cardellini was in it until you were like listing them off, and I was like, how do you name everybody but fucking Selma Blair?
I know.
Like, you fucking
What?
asshole.
Oh my god.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I was trying to remember the cast because at that point, I knew it was at the beginning, so I just had my AirPods in listening to it. So I went to go get my drink and all, so I edited that part out. So when I came back, I was like, all right, so I know these people are in it, and I'm excited to see like where they show up. But I didn't mention Selma Blair because I only know her from Hellboy. You know what I mean? Hellboy and Hellboy 2, like up until this movie. So like,
Cruel Intentions?
Huh?
Never seen Cruel Intentions?
Oh yeah,
she
she
is the girl. Yep, I forgot, but
Dear, dear mother,
I've
brother,
only seen it, one time in full, and then here and there. So I always forget that's her. You know what I mean? So I only know her from Hellboy and Hellboy 2. So it's one of those where it's like, yeah, oh yeah, and then she had like a huge part in it. So I'm like, I really enjoyed her.
Yeah. But no, out of all of these, I would say my go-tos would probably be Ready to Rumble, Legally Blonde, Zoolander, and then Old School.
I'm already down for a Ready to Rumble watch along, and I just watched it. I'm down to rewatch. Let's go, baby.
But yeah, no, I mean these are all good choices. These are all fucking phenomenal choices.
I appreciate that. All right, so now we can go. Anyone else have any like non quote unquote main event movies that they want to mention that they watched, or are we good to talk about our movies?
I watched Antonio's movie from last week again. Also, Atlantis: The Lost Empire. But that's just a fire movie, dog.
I watched it during COVID, and I did enjoy it.
I love that movie.
It was one of those I like quote unquote fell asleep to it and watched the whole thing. So I do already think it's due for a rewatch. So I just watched it too late in the night. I stayed up and paid attention. I remember most of it, but it's like I feel like I need to give it another full on watch. I did enjoy it. Let's start with JPO. You can talk about your two movies, right? You only watched the one?
No, I got Fahrenheit 451, the newer one, 2018. Anywho, and then I've watched.
It's gonna happen again. I had it written down last time on the banner. I didn't know how to spell it. Now I'm gonna do it again.
Fahrenheit.
FAHRENHEIT.
I was close enough this time that I was able to right click and it was there. So,
and then above the rim.
Fucking Americans.
That's
ABOV.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go ahead and
Just use Celsius like the rest of us, you punk ass.
tell us
Use freedom units, thank you.
tell us who gave you each one and then your thoughts on them.
I think these are both Sandy.
I think I gave you 451 actually.
He gave, okay, you gave. Oh, so it's your fault. I watched 451. That's right. Why'd you say I could watch the new one?
Listen, I gave you
the old one.
Have you seen the new one?
I have. It's fine.
I didn't really like the new one here. I thought it probably could have been a better like mini series or something because it just felt very rushed. Like even Michael B. Jordan. So basically, the premise is like this is future where like books are outlawed. There's one train of thought here. Kind of very. You've seen it kind of that happen in a lot of YA movies. And then Michael B. Jordan kind of starts to think differently, but like that's also really never really explained. Like he loves his job at first; he's really good at burning books, and then all of a sudden, like there's like one thing where they're like, "I don't know if it's really what you think it is," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and like all of a sudden he's just on the other side.
I'm pleased to reconsider.
Yeah, like it's just one of those like it's just not very well explained enough, and I don't know. It felt very kind of dull to a large degree for me here. Like I don't think they really thoroughly explained kind of the interesting premise that is underneath it here. And I think that's why this is a Michael B. Jordan, HBO movie that kind of got overlooked and, isn't really talked about much because there's just not really much to say. It's probably, I don't even know if I can give it that extra half. I think it's right at like 2 stars for me.
Is it so I know you said there's multiple titles of it. Is it a remake or is it just coincidentally the same title as something else?
Well, I mean, it's a remake. I don't know how close it is to the original one. Maybe
it's relatively close.
I know the story is. I just didn't know, like, if there's how much of a departure it is as far as characters and whatnot, kind of thing.
Okay, Madid, defend yourself. Why did you give him
that? First of all, I pretty much agree with everything he said. But I think they have I agree with you, actually. I think the TV show would have worked better. When I first gave it, I was like, yeah, all right, it's a decent movie. It's not bad, but it's not, like, the best thing ever. But it's also still, an okay watch. And kind of is different, and also having Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon perform off each other, I thought was a really
probably
cool
the best
pairing,
scenes
especially
is
back
like
then.
just when like there's quick like back and forth dialogue. Yeah, it's probably the most intriguing.
Right. Yeah. Like when they're working against each other, it's got that like hints that it could be really good, and then it's like the other stuff where it's like just rushed in, and I'm like, all right, whatever. But
yeah,
overall, I
even
didn't think
that's
it was
rushed. You know, like he suspects him, and then he's like he knows like in the next scene, and then it's done. You know, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Like this movie, I don't think it's as bad as JPO is saying, but it's not like it's okay. It's just it could have been better as a TV show, but also the fact that both of these guys are in it and like doing pretty good performances when they can, I think is reason enough to give it a shot.
So is this something that just genuinely asked this? I'm not even trolling here. I'm genuinely asked this because this was your first recommendation. Is this something that you kind of didn't understand the gist of the show of like, hey, let's watch better movie? Like even you aren't really.
I was more hoping that maybe he'd see some. I guess I was just kind of hoping that he'd enjoy it at least a little bit, and then we could like
choose enough to where I didn't hate it, but like yeah, I wasn't engaged.
40%, man.
It's not great. I know.
Like,
I'm just
if
trying
I
to
came
say.
home with a 40%, my mom would kick the shit out of me.
Well, that's why you're in med school.
Well, please don't beat the shit out of me.
In our 40s.
That's a whole other thing. But no, like you know what I mean. Like I thought maybe he'd have some enjoyment of it, and then we could discuss like their like the potential for going forward, or like maybe having like some of the performance choices that they make in it, or just the story in general, because like it's kind of tough.
Yeah, like I said, I'm intrigued by the story, and then like I said, what they are given, they're good in, but it just kind of fails as far as like really reaching that potential here. You know what I mean? And even the endings just kind of matter to me. Like I mean, it leaves me kind of like, all right, well, what's the next movie?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I didn't really know JPO's preferences in movies as well as I know some of the other guys.
That's also
yeah.
We'll get to know.
It feels like I
Yeah,
like good movies. Above the Rim. What are your thoughts on that, JPO?
This one I really enjoyed here. It's the cameraman from Scream 2. That's how I know him, and he's a kind of a potential.
Joel, right? Joel and Scream 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Joel.
one who had the best experience with the Woodsboro murders.
Relax.
Absolutely, he did.
Relax.
Like,
So mad about that.
but how I should have had all 3 points on that? Yeah, because I should have.
Absolutely not.
I mean, Chad was crazy saying Sydney, and the other answer was bad too.
Gail was right, dude. She was
Yeah,
amazing.
Gail, the love of her life is dead. We're not doing this, Henry. Anywho, that's for this movie. So he's an aspiring high school basketball star, and kind of starts to get hooked up with Tupac, who's always up to no good. But Tupac's actually really good too. I actually have seen very little Tupac acting. I did
not
see
a lot of it.
True. Well, but he is like the lead in like 3-4 movies. I'm saying I've seen like one, so now I'm like
I watched
maybe
Juice.
half.
Juice.
I've seen Juice. Juice is
I was
actually
in
the one
that.
It was
Yeah.
like it's got to be Juice.
Yeah, I've seen Juice with Pookie.
You've never seen Poetic
Chris Rock.
Justice.
I've never seen Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice is so good.
So I'm interested in maybe seeing that one now because I do like him in this here. And there's also a really good subplot too of Leon, just the one word Leon from Cool Runnings, who's really good in this. As a guy who kind of has his own past experience here, and I really liked his arc, and just everything about it here. I enjoyed the little kind of dip into this world here. Basketball is not. It's a big part of it, but it's not the forefront, which I kind of always enjoy in a way in sports movies sometimes, where it's just kind of it's a side thing to these characters and what they're going through here. And Marlon Wayans also is pretty good in a side role as well.
After watching, is it something that you're surprised that Sandy gave it to you, or is it something that you can tell that it's universally has an appeal that multiple people could enjoy it?
Well, we did have a hard time finding a movie. It was definitely he kept giving me a list, and I was like, I've seen all those, or I was like, or I just can't see them because they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a good movie here. No, I'm glad he threw it out there. It was one that I've always been slightly intrigued by, but never that high because I just, other than like Tupac, like I don't really know much about Leon or the camera guy from Scream 2. So Tupac was the only actor I was kind of interested in, but ended up enjoying them all in the end.
There you go. Has anyone else seen Above the Rim? Go ahead.
Fucking Uncle Bernie's in that movie, right?
Yeah. And he's actually good. I mean, it's a very small part, but he's like a kind of not a crazy, but like
It's
a
been
homeless guy.
It's been like a hot minute since I've seen it, but I have seen it.
Madi, you have any memory of it?
I mean, there's parts of it that are definitely very 90s. You know what I mean? Like the opening is pretty 90s. And like how it all like starts is kind of out the window a little bit, or off the roof rather. But
Literally out the window. Wait, which scene?
but you know, it is good, and Tupac playing a villain he's really good in it. You know, like he's definitely for me the standout of this movie. And you know, the overall story, like JPO said, like I agree with what JPO said. Like everything is story first, and then the basketball kind of comes secondary. But overall, it's a really good movie, and I think I watched it again like last year, the year before, something like that.
Interesting.
But it holds up. It's fire.
There you go. I'll definitely have to put it on my list now because I want to see, you know, if I agree, and it's on Prime. So I can check
As
it
I
out.
would say, it's on the Prime. Yeah.
Madi, what is a movie that you watched for this show?
I watched The Host. Or is it Host or The Host?
Host. No, just Host. You watched it? Let's
Just
go. I
Host.
forgot that's what I gave you.
Okay, so
Let's go.
here's this movie's like an hour long, which
Yes, it is.
you know doesn't give a whole lot of time for like character development, but because of like the situation, like they're all on a Zoom call and it's mid-pandemic, so you know you kind of get enough of it, like of the character development throughout.
Whoa, is this even a movie? 57 minutes? Is that a movie?
Yeah,
Is that even
Yeah,
considered
that's the
a
thing.
movie?
Like it was like
Shutter
really
original.
short.
It's a Shutter original, but it's a
It's
film.
a Shutter original, yeah. So
As long as the movie's 40 minutes, it can be nominated for an Oscar.
yeah,
But it
This
never
movie was not
does.
gonna
I
get
get. I
nominated.
understand what you're saying, but it's never happened though. And it
No,
never
I
will
know,
happen.
but like that's
It's
what
realistically
feature
speaking,
length-
they're never good enough, if we're being honest. But this one is fire.
Yeah,
I don't think. I think it could be the greatest 40-minute movie ever, and they're just not going to give it props versus a movie that actually like is
Well,
a
of
real
course
movie.
not.
Against their sizest against shorter
It-
movies.
it
Yeah.
fits with it. Hey, all movie lengths matter, man. You know, it's not what you do with the length. It's
It's not how much length you have; it's what you do with.
Yeah, exactly. It's not how much length you have; it's what you do with it.
It's the motion of the reels, guys.
God damn. it.
Yeah, exactly.
Great, grandpa. Go ahead, Madi.
This movie, it was good for
Did
the
you watch it with
first.
your girl? I'm just curious, or by yourself?
By myself.
Okay.
She saw the concept and she's like, "No, thank you," and then
Fair.
she did. But it's so this movie's a good horror movie, and it has moments where it's like, all right, there's the subtle things that are working. I think where it fell off to me was
Around
when
that 40-minute mark.
around the 40 minutes. No, so you do end up seeing like the thing that's haunting them
Yeah.
in it, and for me that took me out. I was like, okay, I've seen this fucking thing in the dollar store. I swear to God, like the
So a little behind the scenes thing. All the actors actually did film themselves via Zoom, and they edited it together to make it look like it's a call. So everything that was in their everything that was in their home and everything that was practical, you know, happened at their home, and the actors did it with themselves because they were all literally on quarantine. So
So
everything
it was
was
from
filmed.
the dollar store.
Probably, you know what I mean, and
Probably.
that's what's fun about it. That's why it's a 57-minute movie, because it's essentially like a student film, but like one of the better versions of it. Obviously not literally a student film, but like that's why I just think it's like wow, and I'm shocked that they
Honestly,
did like that.
this did feel like a student film at times for me. Like I enjoyed it for the most part, and then there was parts of it that kind of took me out, like the like-
guy with the girlfriend, the friend, the guy.
Yeah.
friend. Yeah.
him. I was like, all right, fuck this guy. Like I hope he's not in the movie at all. Honestly, like I hope he's the first to die. And then he like just dips for like 37 minutes of this
It was
57
goddamn
minute movie.
girlfriend.
Yeah. But like a lot of it, like there's and it does have those like, all right, they made like a stupid horror movie decision, like where this person's just being a pain in the ass to the lady that they hired. I did enjoy it for the most part. It was just like there's certain things that like did make it feel like more of a student film, and like that they
One of
were
my
really
favorite parts is the one with the girl where she kind of has the reel in the background, so it looks like, you know, it's on loop, and it looks like she's there and
that
popping,
part.
and
That
then you
part
realize
was
that's, you know, possessed or, you know, kind of, you know, finessed.
yeah.
That
Like
that
that
stuff
part was
creepy.
definitely one of the more creative parts. I thought that was done really well. I think a lot of I ended up paying more attention to like other people's screens
Yeah.
rather than watching the whole thing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I'd rather have like the screen on and like pay attention to everything instead of having to look at like small,
Yeah.
like there's five, six squares in the movie for a Zoom call, and you end up paying attention to like a small portion of the screen instead of looking at the whole thing.
Yeah.
That kind of took me out of it a little bit.
It's like being in a StreamYard call.
Yeah, really. Like honestly, it's like being in a StreamYard call, but you're trying to watch a movie, and it's like, oh, I'm focusing on one particular person talking.
That's fair. Have you seen from this year Missing? It's from the editor of Searching. Have
No,
you
I
seen
haven't seen
either?
No.
Okay, that's probably what I'll give you next time, because I feel like, especially after watching this now, that's the more Hollywood version of this, because it's all from the perspective of everything on the camera. So like the first
Is that
Searching,
the one with
John Cho,
what's
the first one.
John Cho in it? Yeah, okay. I was like thinking about watching that at like when it came out, and then just didn't get around.
Never did.
Searching
I
and
have a
Missing.
question.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't seen this and I don't have like Shudder or anything. But it's like 5 white chicks, right?
No, actually, one of them's Asian.
Yeah.
And then finally getting diversity in horror movies. Does
Right.
them do the white person thing where they hear a noise and they go and investigate it though?
Okay, so here, I'll say this: they're on a Zoom call, and they've hired a lady to do a séance with them over the Zoom call.
Okay, we're gonna play with a digital Ouija board. I hate this.
No, it wasn't digital. It was
Honestly,
it was just you just catch your hearing on the mics. It's
Right.
catching it.
Prime the
Yeah,
Ouija
you're
board,
hearing on
damn
the
it!
mics, like, you might hear a knock. Does somebody hear a knock? So they like have a reason for it to happen.
Yeah.
But it's very much like, all right.
So
it's,
hold on, and this is important information, because the twist / the crux of why the story happens is the girl is fucking with her, and she makes up a story to a tragic backstory, and because she did that during the actual seance, it essentially triggered the seance and created a new demon, and that was
it created a tulpa.
Yeah. So like. So yeah, it kind of like was an amalgamation of like other demons, and it kind of made its own. You know, they were like grabbing a little bit of this guy and this guy and this guy, and it ended up making a real fucked up one because of them trolling, essentially. So it's kind of like a low key commentary on trolling, being a dick to old ladies. So yeah, what would you rate it?
Like, I was like, why is like borderline 3, but more likely 2.5? I think is where I put it at. Like
negative.
2.5, 3 stars.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's there's parts of it that I thought had a lot of potential in it, and I will say this: as I'm watching it, like I finished the movie and I look at my shirt and I'm like sweating, and I'm like, what the fuck? Did I actually like get scared a lot by this movie? And then I go outside to like the main room, and my girlfriend's like, oh, the AC stopped working an hour ago. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me? It's 35 degrees outside. Like, no wonder.
Don't fuck with Joe or Timmy or whatever his name was.
That's that's
like,
93 degrees for us Americans.
Yeah, like whatever the hell it was. Like, god damn, I'm not doing conversions on this. But like it was fine. It was just there's moments of it that I thought could be done really well. It was I think certain choices threw me off, and then having the whole sequence happen, and that store demon just being for like half second, I was like, all right, fuck this.
Yeah.
Let's talk shit about it and attack the router.
Yeah, literally. All right, last question I'll ask and then move on. So this could be one of those examples of a low budget film that gets remade. Is this something that you would be interested in watching a remake of, with the assumption that they're going to do it justice and it's not a cheap remake? You know what I mean?
If they do a remake of this,
with
but they put a
TikTok
little
where
bit
he
more money
remade his
into it,
own.
and they get like I enjoyed the practical stuff. Like the practical effects were done really well. But
cheapness.
if they put, yeah, like there's certain effects that they do really well. I think the story works out. I think if they do a little bit more money into it, hell, even have the same cast come back, because I didn't have an issue with anyone in the cast.
Yeah, the acting was way better than you would expect.
Yeah, like it was like, especially since they're all playing like, I think they all have their real names as like their character names.
I'm looking at the cast right now. Haley is Haley, Gemma's Gemma, Emma's Emma, Radina's Radina. Like,
yeah, like it's like, all right, like, oh, I wonder who plays that. It's like the same person, like just their name. They just didn't use the last name.
But yet, why does Edward Leonard play Teddy?
See
guy's
that
legit.
one?
Because
It's
He's
the
in it.
only one.
Edward is short for Tedward.
Oh yeah, that is right.
Oh yeah, science.
Yeah.
Like if they remade it with a little bit more money, like not too much more, but like maybe like, you know, this movie was made what, like $100,000 at most.
Something like that. Yeah, it's definitely not much.
Yeah. So if they put this up to like 300,000, like even like just to get a little bit extra, like just they could have that little extra wiggle room in there and get it done right, then I think this could do really well. But just the way it was, like you could tell the budget was kind of short, and then like some of the creature effects and things like that they did. Also, maybe change like a couple things in the script here and there, like get rid of the guy. Honestly, like the guy was really annoying and took me out of it a little bit, but.
That is fair. All right, let's. Do you want to get controversial, or do you want to save the best for last?
I say we save that one for last.
All right,
Yeah,
Tato,
save it for last.
what's your movie?
You're muted, by the way, buddy.
Creeps. I watched Jimmy Cameron's The Abyss. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. The immediate evocation for me is Armageddon. Very much the same plot line. Fucking government problem happens. They have to call in the everyman roughneck workers to help solve it, and blah blah blah. And they clash with the fucking military. I personally enjoy Armageddon better, but it's probably just because I saw it first, and I have very much nostalgic for it and shit like that. And I like Bruce Willis a shade more than Ed Harris in the role.
They're very similar, though. They're very similar.
The Abyss is probably the objectively better film. Just for what it's worth, obviously. Fucking blah blah blah. Pokemon did it better 3 times.
I didn't know you were gonna say that.
I figured that was part of why you gave it to me. So we have the SS Anne situation.
Yep.
Obviously the shipwreck. Again, Pokemon did it better. We have let's see, Porygon seizures were done better by Pokemon. The flashing red and blue, definitely. And then also the Pokemon Snap bit when she cannot get the picture of fucking Mew at the end. I feel her pain. We've all been down that road.
I aimed that apple perfectly, you fuck.
Fucking they got okay, spoiler bit, the Jade fucking for the movie that's older than most of us, the bad guy dies in the end by being crushed to death in a fucking submersible. Jay, you son of a bitch. You give me this whole 2.5 hour movie for the topical joke. You fuck.
Don't be a bitch and go down to the fucking submarine, bro.
Yeah, lesson learned. So yes, this movie is topical.
It's a lesson you can only learn once.
I enjoyed the bit where they're giving Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio. She's dead. They're trying to revive her. They're like, whip her titties out or it won't work. Essentially, is what they say. Like no, like she's
blue because this is a James Cameron movie.
Little bit. Hey, yeah, her skin was very much blue as a result of drowning. That happens sometimes. Spoiler alert. Fucking. So yeah, that was good.
Wait. We have a medical professional. Can you confirm this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking. It's always good that Dr. Medea in the house for that reason. So I enjoyed that he maintained the shit blue hand for the entire movie. After that happened, the whole liquid breathing thing felt tacked on at the end. Like they did it with the mouse in the movie, and then like that felt like the end of the movie, and they're like, "Shit, we never actually used the liquid breathing shit on a human." Fuck, let's do it. Okay, and then they just tack that scene on at the end there. I do like pretty colors, and there were a lot of pretty colors in this movie. I kind of thought that would be what part of what Jay's assessment was, so I enjoyed that bit. It did take me a long time to get into this flick.
I saw it once.
like about an hour.
I don't remember much of it. I saw it once, I think in 2019, and it's all gone.
Yeah, I can't.
Aliens.
Aliens, basically, fucking water aliens. Yeah, no, that if that movie would have been in that 4th of July question, I wouldn't have fucking faulted you for because it has to do with water as well. Fucking.
Get better at your fucking holidays, people. Jesus.
But yeah, it's a very much a James Cameron movie. Man's mechanical hubris versus nature, blah blah blah. Fucking, it's what he does. This is it feels a lot less refined to me, even than Terminator, which was a couple years beforehand. This feels even less refined than that, and I get it because of the struggles of that you had to do while making this movie in the water and shit. Blah 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 blah. But it is interesting to see younger James Cameron kind of behind the lens and like how he tightened up over Titanic and Avatar and blah 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 and stuff like that with his filmmaking. But you can still very much tell it's him. So it was an interesting thing to go back and see. This was the earliest Cameron I had seen other than Terminator at this point. And you very much can tell how the CG influenced fucking T2 later on, obviously. That one is very, very clear with the
So
liquid
as someone
metal.
who just watched T2 for the first time, 2 months ago, roughly?
Around that time, yeah.
How do they compare in terms of just new James Cameron to you?
I definitely dig both Terminators a lot more than this. Both of those are.
Is it the pacing, just the content of the story, or just overall it just didn't really?
The pacing definitely helps a lot, and I am much more interested in the story of the Terminator. It's a little more sci-fi. It's much more like, and it like
Sci-fi, bro.
part of it being Jesus, obviously they're both very much sci-fi, obviously, but geek, I meant specifically, like I'm more likely to come across Terminator questions in my line of trivia play, so like I think that lends itself to my interest in it a little bit, but I also just do enjoy those movies better. I think they're better. This was a fine one-time watch. I could probably go check it out again in few years, see if I get anything different from it. But yeah, it's not something I'm going to be beating down the door to go see.
Any last thoughts?
Yeah, basically, I was just 3.5 stars is where it landed.
All right, that's a fair,
Yeah.
opinion. Jay, you gave it to him. Was it just the topical joke, or did you actually have an opinion on this movie that you wanted to discuss?
No, I actually kind of figured he'd dig it a little bit more than like a 3.5 star movie. I like the concept of the USO instead of the UFO, the unidentified submerged object, the government going after aliens under the guise of looking for a ship. The sub joke was just like, it just happened to be like perfect on time, but like it's really hard to find somebody who hasn't watched almost everything that James Cameron's ever fucking put to screen. So like if you can like that's mainly one of the reasons why I did it, because I know that he dug the Terminators. I was like, okay, well if you like those, you might like this. It happened to be topical at the time. But no, this is one of my actually like this is one of my higher up there for James. For Monsieur Cameron. But I like the concept of aliens and shit, especially underwater. So
No, I respect that. Madi, have you seen The Abyss?
I think I saw it a long time ago. I think I remember this movie more for like the CGI thing, like the whole water alien moment where it starts matching the faces, and like thinking that was. When did this movie come out? Like 1989? 89. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is before Terminator 2, then.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. It's in between Terminator 2 and Aliens. So yeah.
Okay, so it's before Jurassic Park and that too, then. So it's like really one of the earlier CGI movies that like.
Right after
Hold on,
Who Framed
pretty
Roger
well.
Rabbit, essentially. That's really the other one that's like a big one. But yeah.
That what was that? Starfighter, I guess, would be.
You talking the last Starfighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last Starfighter was what, 84?
84, I want to say.
Not the worst year of all time, Jay.
Hey.
Either way, so like CGI had not really taken off yet, and then like James Cameron's out here
Just
doing
do
the
it.
hardest thing in CGI, which is like make water.
Yeah.
And then
Something that they
Putting
still
it-
don't get right a lot of the times today.
like water and faces are like the two hardest things to do with CGI, and he put the fucking two of them together.
He put
In
his dick on the
1989.
table and was like, bam.
Yeah.
It's like Avatar, bitch.
Exactly. No, like so I think that I remember more than I remember the rest of the movie, just because I was like, that's really fucking cool. But I feel like I have to rewatch it and just kind of,
Yeah, it's not a bad
Recap.
it's not a bad rewatch movie, but it's not a movie that I'd like go through and watch like more than once every like 2 years or so. But it's not
I think it's
like,
when
not
was the last time I
terrible.
watched? I think before I got into med school was the last time I watched this. This has been at least
Shit,
like,
it's
another-
been 84 years.
Let's put it this way: every time James
It's been
Cameron releases a
84 years.
film, you
Honestly,
rewatch this
Jesus.
because it's every 10 years. So yeah, you can
Yeah.
definitely do that. JPO, have you seen The Abyss?
I have not. Did you know I have 2 cats?
No, we only ever
A
see 8.
rare appearance.
I know, yeah. It's because it's dinner time, you fat fuck.
So you have not seen? Is it something you've been avoiding, or just kind of just randomly just never comes
No,
up?
just one of those. No, just a blind spot for whatever reason. 80s blind spot for me.
Yeah, it's literally
It's-
before 1990, so you don't think it exists. All right, it is time.
Here we go. I've been dreading this.
I
Jay,
don't know why. I don't know why. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to go? I thought you were gonna
Just
count me.
go.
Am I not
Just
on-
rip
am I
it
not
off.
on your fucking tempo? Am I not on your fucking tempo? Is that what you're doing right now?
Not quite my tempo.
Like, I don't know where to.
Fuck you, you fucking square!
I don't
Hurry up with your review before I demolish you.
Go ahead. I'm
Get out of
curious.
my fucking face.
All right, let's go. I'm curious.
This movie is great for memes. This movie is great for memes. Outside of that, this movie is hot garbage, bro. This movie is toxic as fuck, dude. Nobody's like. I like movies where you have a likable
wish I
character
could
where
leave.
you can, ain't nobody stopping you. This is a movie where like I like movies where like there's a likable and a relatable character. Andrew is not a relatable character. Fucking J.K. Simmons' character is just a giant piece of trash. By far the most manipulative and gaslighting motherfucker on the face of the planet. And that's all Miles Teller's character learns from him is how to fucking manipulate and gaslight. Because still, even at the end of the fucking movie, there's no redemption for Miles Teller. He gets one up on fucking J.K. Simmons' character by fucking starting off just going crazy ham at the fucking end, which don't get me wrong, was cool. But this movie just was not me. I think the best part about it, because I watched it with boobs. I think my favorite part about this movie is actually the music itself. Just as an
Made you
individual,
think jazz is fire.
I mean, you're not wrong, but there's a like that, and when he's sitting down at the dinner table with his fucking dad and all of his family, and he's like, "Dude plays Division III football. It's not even good football." What do you say? You're better than us? Yeah, you pick up faster, don't you? Model UN, fucking. But like, even then, this is at the very beginning. Like, there's just this is a 2-star movie. It's not a 1.5. It's a 2-star movie, and it's 2 stars because of the music in it. As an individual who's had a career in music, as an individual with a degree in music, that's the only thing that is the saving grace of this. So yeah, make of that what you will.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll
Why
start.
don't y'all just start yelling at the same time?
I'll start and then
Ramble.
let you guys go on
Yeah,
because
'cause a little precedent. I watched this with Tato for the first time a couple months ago. His first time, so he's the freshest of all of this. So go ahead, Tato. What is your opinion?
well, I gave you Whiplash because I thought it was the closest thing to a sure thing because fucking everybody loves this movie.
Evidently
I have not heard like an unkind word about this movie until now, yeah. Or until obviously fucking blah blah blah. But yeah, even the movie poster is just fucking reviews of people fucking filleting the film as
JK.
That should be a warning sign.
Yeah, a lot of people love it.
Yeah, everyone loves this movie. It must be not good. What?
He also does not like The Dark Knight.
I don't know how you're gonna call it Whiplash as toxic for having toxic characters when Jim Cameron was a fucking dictator on The Abyss and a bunch of people almost died while filming that flick.
I'm not saying you. Two things can still be bad, bro. You can have two bad things. The movie is toxic. I'm not talking about a toxic person because J.K. Simmons is not a toxic individual. It goes to his acting prowess. It goes to his acting ability, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
James Cameron's giant piece of shit. Absolutely.
I can love a movie with like I don't have to love the characters to really dig a movie. You're not wrong that J.K. Simmons' character is a giant piece of shit. But that goes to the point. I don't really
Still see you, mini me.
I've had one character
out of me. Hold on, it worries the fuck out of me, especially when they're at that like first fucking recital thing that they're at.
With the
And
little
he's
girl.
talking
That's
to
the
the
point.
little girl.
That's the
No,
point.
bro, no, dog. It's not the point. It's not the point.
I think it is.
It's not though. If anything was the point, it's the fact that he bullied the fucking kid into killing himself at the fucking like you find that out.
Sean
And then
and Rip. He was a
Car
beautiful
crash.
player.
Shit, where was I going?
Madi, go ahead. I'll let regather his thoughts. When was the last time you've seen this? Roughly, how many times you've seen it, and what are your thoughts?
I think I've seen this movie like 5-6 times, give or take.
Yes.
And it like you got like if you guys pay attention to my letterbox, you're doing more than I do. But this is one of the few movies that I have as a 5-star movie. Like I don't give 5 stars very often. Like I think I've given it to maybe like 30 movies or something like that. This is a 5-star movie. J.K. Simmons does an absolutely brilliant job in his performance. Miles Teller, for being an asshole, just gives a great performance in this and does really well. Yeah, the concept and the what is happening is toxic, but that doesn't mean that it's like it gets taken back. Like look at Breaking Bad or The Sopranos or any of these like major TV shows. I wouldn't want to be associated with any of these people, but goddamn, it makes really good cinema. You know what I mean? Like, and the music is great. But Jay, this is 5 stars, man. Come on, how do you?
No, bro. Hey, I got anger management issues. If somebody ever talked to me the way that fucking J.K. Simmons talks to anybody in this movie, I'd fuck him up, dude. I would throw a chair right back at his motherfucking face, dog. No, I couldn't do it. And I think maybe I'm bringing a little bit of that personal bias into it. Because, no, dog, the way that he talks to fucking Andrew, like when he's trying to find the fucking tempo.
What are you looking down? There's not a fucking Mars bar down.
Who am I kidding?
Tell me it wasn't you, Elmer Fudd.
He wasn't out of tune. It was you. But it was worse that he didn't know.
Let's just see. Let's see if you're in the first year just because you're pretty. Yep, that's it. JPO, what are your thoughts on Whiplash?
I love Whiplash, man. I love it so much. I'm not.
You only have it at 4 stars, so love it is actually wild.
You know what? I'm gonna go up to 4.5. That was probably my initial review, man, because it's something that I'm not superstitious, but I did. Like I like to start my year off hot, if that makes sense, like purposely. And then it was the first movie in not 2023, but 2022 was my first watch because I was like, we gotta start off on a high note. This is a weird thought I like to have. I love the ending. I think the ending is so great. I'm enthralled in every time. Sometimes I'll just watch that last ending sequence here. I love the, kind of like Madi said, like, yeah, I kind of see where Jay's coming from. I can't really even knock what Jay's saying, but like, yeah, he's fascinating to watch, man. You know what I mean? The lengths he's willing to go to not be good, but to be great, I think is just fascinating and a really interesting thing to watch. And JK, I mean, regardless to say, that's the reason he won that year. He got nominated.
He won.
He straight up fucking won, and for reasons, So yeah, no, I do really really like this movie here. Probably still my favorite Giselle movie. I like this way more than La La Land. So yeah.
Yep.
I did find that thought. The only character in like the past 3 movies that I've even been assigned that I come close to liking is David Cross from Eternal Sunshine. Like I don't really identify with or like anyone in Punch Drunk Love or The Abyss. So, but I still like enjoyed all 3 movies.
Birdhouse.
Yeah, one of the best acting performances of all time is Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, and you don't like nothing about him as a person, but yeah, you can just showcase the abilities of representing what they're trying to tell, and that's what Terrence Fletcher is in Whiplash. Yeah, this is a movie to me that there are a few movies, especially like quote unquote newer movies. Like obviously this is 21st century 2010s, like movies where after you finish, like that's cinema. You know what I mean? And I feel like Whiplash does a great job of doing that. Like it literally hits you like after he's going, you hit that smile, and it just credits. You're like, wow, and then you look and you see like his what is technically his second movie. I can't remember what his first one was. That's like unofficial.
It was Whiplash, the 20-minute version.
Yeah, something like that. So it's like, or yeah, whatever. But anyway, the point is when you look at it, you're like, wow, this is just impressive of just like what he could do, both like the editing styles and just the abilities of like having these actors on screen. And once again, the whole point of Terrence Fletcher's character and like the little girl and like representing, because he's like, oh yeah, you're gonna come play for me, and he looks like a great role model. He looks like a good dude. And then when you're in, so it's one of those where it's like, is it opens the door for the conversation of like, am I really just having to go the next level to push these students to become the next Charlie Parker, or am I going too far? And then when they have that conversation at the table, he's like, what if you're going too far? He's like, the next Charlie Parker can never go too far. You know what I mean? So it's the ideologies that it showcases of just the spectrum of different people and to the extremes, and of what you're willing to go put yourself through, what you're willing to go through to that next level. Like it's the whole Kobe mentality of like, being the first in the gym and the last one out. Like it's never easy. And obviously this is, a different, avenue with music and teaching and all that stuff. So it looks like bullying and all that stuff. And then it
100% is bullying. I'm sorry, I don't mean to step over you. I didn't just watch this movie once because I wanted to make sure that like I got it. He like specifically uses shit that like I just said his name. Miles Teller's character Andrew is fucking like vulnerable with, and he uses that and throws it in his fucking face. That's not trying to bring the best out of somebody.
I know, but I wasn't defending him. What I'm saying is,
no. I know.
In his mind, his character does things on both ends. So like, it's like one of the best villains of all time. It's like you believe that what he's doing is right, and that's why he's one of the better villains, because he literally, in his mind, he thinks he
believes that what he's doing is right.
He does. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that you said you did. I was like, holy shit, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we gotta cancel
some of the best villains. He believes what he's doing is right. So it does a good job of showing that, and then the fact that you actually see the other sides of him. You're like, man, because in his mind, that's why it represents what he's doing in the classroom. And because when he's teaching, he is a piece of shit, but when he's not teaching, he's not a piece of shit. And I'm not saying he's a good person. It's probably all an act in a show, but that's the dichotomy of that character, depending on where you're seeing him showcase. And then in his reaction to Sean Casey's death, it's like he actually is upset. He's not putting on a front. He's genuinely upset, whether it's guilt that he pushed him to it, or he's just sad because he actually cared. It really that part is gray, and I feel like it does a great job of doing that, because you as an audience member, you're like, man, like I don't agree with anything he's doing, but like maybe there is likable. And that's kind of what JP was talking about earlier with like The Godfather and all those types of movies. Like there's always going to be enough elements in there as an audience member to like sympathize with them. Breaking Bad, you're sympathizing.
Overrated movie of all time.
So
anyone know who Paul Scheer is from How Did This Get Made?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Andre. It's Andre.
And from the league. And he has the second worst of everyone I follow on Letterboxd. He has the second worst review. He only gave it 3, but I couldn't find anyone else that had less than 3.
I didn't know he's on Letterboxd. Follow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a huge movie cat. Obviously, with his podcast and shit. Check out How Did This Get Made if you've never seen it. They just talk about bad movies. They just
did a great Hypnotic, the Ben Affleck movie from this year. It was great.
That's fair. All right. Well, that was this week's episode. So,
hoof my hoof.
Yeah. We'll do it all behind the scenes stuff, because I never know who's going to give what, and we always have a lot of questions. But yeah, we'll figure out next week of whatever we're seeing. So, make sure you check out everything that JPO is doing over on a show about trivia. Get that whiplash out of you, that 5-star fucking banger of a movie. Make sure you check out everything.
I raised my score to offset his low score, Henry.
Yeah. A show about trivia, everything that Jordan Owens is doing. Movie Battleground over on TMG Entertainment. Full Metal Trivia. They just posted their championship match. One of the best thumbnails in the game. I haven't been able to joke about Malcolm. God, the thumbnails bothers me. But the match is great. JP is actually on there. He's co-hosting with that. I was able to watch a little bit of that. And then Lights Out Trivia. Make sure you check out The Secret Tunnel. So, yeah. Love you guys, everyone but Jay, because he sucks. Hate him so much. He's the worst person of all time. This was Movie Cherry Wednesday, my dude. Latest, Gators.